All right, try number two. Made a 10-minute video. Turns out when you have the phone plugged into the car, it doesn't work, at least for the microphone. All right, so getting into Triphasic 2 just came out. Just want to kind of give you guys what's been working for me and my guys, and kind of the background. So starting with how I got started is I started to play floor hockey in 2018. Basic difference between that and regular hockey is you are sprinting the entire time, and to be in a rec league, instead of 30-second NHL shifts, you get 15-minute shifts because you don't get enough players to actually come out and play. So that's kind of how I got into looking for performance. And I started looking around. I was familiar with Triphasic from Joe DeFranco's Strong Bastard program, which had Triphasic in it. Just a brief overview of Triphasic. Triphasic is based on the triphasic actions of the muscle, which is eccentric, isometric, concentric, with 2 to 3 week blocks of each is the main gist of triphasic training. So I tried some stuff. So I did a search for basically hockey and lacrosse because lacrosse is on foot. I figured that might match up pretty well. I found some stuff from Cal on endurance is really what I need. So I needed conditioning. I need that repeat sprint ability, which is something you will see in Triphasic 2. So some of those concepts I started trying out, and they worked really well. Specifically, I did really well with, and yes, I have two watches. One's my iWatch to track time and sunlight, just because I want to track that. So one things that I played with was the contralateral aerobic circuits, and those were extremely effective for me. If you're not familiar, that'll be in Triphasic 2 as well. You also can find some videos on it. Basically, it's just a series of exercises that are focused on improving locomotion type patterns, cross crawl, locomotion type stuff where you're doing, say, a reverse lunge with the right leg and a row with the opposite side. Very effective. Many times we tape the mouth shut, which helps with improving nasal breathing. So I did that for a while, and that really helped with the hockey conditioning. So I'm like, all right, I probably need to go all in. So again, kind of going the lacrosse theme, since I was on foot doing sprints, I decided to try the 50-week Triphasic lacrosse manual, which had a program in it that was 50 weeks long, built for Denver University D1's lacrosse program. So having a deployment coming up, granted it was built for kids half my age, but having a deployment coming up, I had the time, I had the recovery opportunity, mostly ish. And I was able to pull that off, even though I was traveling often. I was still able to do it in austere environments. I was still able to do it with gym in the boxes, still able to do it with just not having a lot of resources, not having the best quality food, not the best quality sleeping areas. You know, some of these places smelled like sewage all the time because there was no sewage system. Anyways, worked out really well. So after I came back from that deployment, I decided, guys got to know about this. Like, yes, we're twice the age of what this program is designed for, but it's extremely effective. It worked really well. I'm able to play recreational sports at, mid 40s without too much issue. I mean, if I do get injured, I'm able to recover really quick. And I found that to be the same. So I came back, started train heroic group that focused primarily on that basically modified version of that lacrosse program. You'll find a lot of the things in Triphasic 2 are things that we've worked on in the last couple of years. So the escalating densities training, the contralateral circuits, like I've mentioned before, a lot of the conditioning stuff, the strength stuff. Triphasic is what it is, but I also found that Triphasic lacrosse manual's strength block is the most productive, most PRing, however you want to name it, series of strength work that I've seen. I've got guys who are very experienced, making PRs almost every week on that strength block. It's 7 weeks long, and it is very effective. The catch is that all of this is very high volume. So you have to do all the triphasic, aerobic conditioning type stuff ahead of time. Otherwise, you're just not going to survive the volume. And especially for us older guys, that was the one thing I did find, is that you do have to have a good conditioning base or you just can't survive the training. Ways that we modified it since then, generally cut off some of the accessory work just because, again, we're not actually D1 athletes. But, in most of our career fields, most of my guys are either law enforcement or military, senior leaders typically. So we're not as much in the fight as much, but at the same time, you still have to keep up. You still have to be able to perform. And a lot of us like to perform in other things. So I've got one guy on my team. He's in his 50s and he competes in MMA, kickboxing, and jiu-jitsu tournaments. So got to be able to do that. I have found that I did have a torn ACL that I didn't know about until years later. And some of the things in triphasic have helped with mitigating or recovering from injury fairly quickly. So when I do re-injure it or have an issue, I generally come back fairly quick. And one of the big things is that you'll find in Triphasic II is RPR, reflexive performance reset. So I have not only used that on myself every session for the last couple of years, but I've also used it on many people in person and remotely. Remotely, I'm never quite sure how somebody's going to respond to it. Typically, I'm like, oh man, they're just going to think it's flu-flu. But every single time, somebody's come back and been like, man, that was amazing. It has definitely changed the game. It's the best warm-up. It's about 60 to 90 seconds when you do it, and I send people off a video to follow Cal. They do the thing, and they're like, this is amazing. People in person. So I had one guy, he was electrocuted, and it was about a week and a half later. We did RPR with him. He was not able to do even so much as a 3/4 squat at the beginning. By the end, he was doing a full squat. RPR is not magic. We did hit a calf reset, and he had calf issues, and that actually bumped him back a little bit. So, I mean, we got about 90% of benefits doing everything. So you kind of learn how to refine some of that stuff through the RPR process. I've also trained a baseball team, mostly 11-year-olds. Everybody got faster sprint times with the exception of the fastest kid on the team. The assumption is that with RPR, his system was already running the way it was supposed to, so he's not going to get much more out of it. So he's the only guy that I haven't seen success with RPR, and I wouldn't even say that wasn't successful, just so much as like his system was already running fairly optimal. RPR, you'll see in Triphasic II. You'll see that. You'll see a lot of the conditioning methods. You'll see a lot of the stuff that we've been doing over the last couple of years that have made my guys very successful, very resilient, very injury-free, very much able to take on pretty much any service test, or I had, you got guys who want to go to a different career and they need to pass a test. It's not a problem. I do want to thank Cal for bringing this stuff to the public. He could have just kept it at University of Minnesota, not released it to anybody else, kept it just for his athletes. And I am greatly appreciative because it has definitely changed the way I'm able to do anything. I can now compete in events that I didn't think I was able to do. I'm able to do things pain-free. I'm able to do so many things in my 40s that in my mid-30s I was concerned with were going to limit me for the rest of my life. Not a problem anymore. And that has been the case for almost all the guys on my team. We still get little minor tweaks here and there, but for the most part, we're able to do things fairly injury-free and still continue to perform at a very high level. So thanks to Cal. Check it out. If you got any questions, let me know. Hit me up, and good luck. Read through it. Definitely check out Triphasic II. It's on Amazon. Grab it, pick it up, read it, employ it, execute it. Let me know if you got any questions, and have a good day.